from Montana's news leader.
Good morning to you. I'm Shannon New. Thanks for joining us here on this Monday, May 11th, 2020.
Kicking off another Monday. I'm Jason Laird.
How you doing this morning?
Not bad. Not bad. It was I was a little tired this morning, but kicking right back into it. We had a busy weekend though.
We did have a busy weekend.
We have some
video to show people of our adventures this weekend coming up a little bit later.
It was an adventure. Yeah, a little branding. Went up around the
Basically
Sweetgrass.
in Canada.
Basically in Canada. Yeah, it was an interesting weekend. Had all sorts of weather.
Just about everything you could imagine.
Right. You had rain, we had some sleet, we had a little hail, wind, you name it. It was
little
all sorts
sunshine.
of stuff. Yeah, little sunshine thrown in the mix. And speaking of sunshine, we're not going to have a lot of it to start off the work week here. It's going to be a little bit cool, and we're tracking more rain headed our way. So on the U.S. Bank iCam here, bright and early this morning, 38 degrees right now, some wind out of the east at 13 miles per hour. And we'll likely see those winds increase a little bit as our next weather maker starts barreling down on us. About 42 degrees in the capital on the Opportunity Bank iCam. Some wind out of the north at 9 miles per hour. Forecast headlines moving forward. So cooler temperatures to start out the work week. Rain and yes, a little bit of snow is going to be moving in as well. We'll kind of tell you where that's going to be. And the good news is, though, we are getting a little bit warmer as we head toward the weekend. We'll break down that extended forecast, let you know everything you need to expect or can expect this week shortly. Shannon?
All right, thanks, Jason. We begin this half hour with Cascade County authorities saying 22-year-old Tyler Jordan Blodgett, also known as Tyler Hardy, was last seen on McHughesville Road on a motorcycle early Sunday morning. His motorcycle was recovered. He's believed to be on foot. Tyler was last seen wearing a brown jacket, black baseball hat, orange Alpine racing pants, and cowboy boots. Crews were searching for him on the ground and in the air last night. We'll update you when we learn more. On the coronavirus front this morning, there's more good news to start off our week here in Montana. There are no new cases to report under the big sky. Our total of confirmed cases remains at 458. Statewide, there are 20 active cases. In total, there have been 16 reported cases in both Great Falls and Lewis and Clark counties. 4 people are currently hospitalized for complications attributed to COVID-19. 422 Montanans have recovered so far. Across the nation, Vice President Mike Pence has tested negative for the coronavirus after his press secretary contracted the virus. Katie Miller is at least the second person around the administration to test positive, and it's caused a bit of a shakeup at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. At least 3 top health officials are now self-quarantining as a precaution. Today, the president will hold a Rose Garden press conference with the focus on testing. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
It is scary to go to work.
White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said he'd feel safer at home after some aides tested positive for the coronavirus.
It's a small, crowded place. It's a little bit risky, but you have to do it because you have to serve your country.
3 top health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, are now quarantining on some level after coming in contact with at least one of them.
Reopening.
Meanwhile, President Trump's economic team hit the Sunday talk shows to discuss the pandemic's financial toll.
There's a considerable risk of not reopening. You're talking about what would be permanent economic damage.
Hassett says the White House is closely watching states that have reopened.
We're watching very closely what happens to those states get their economies up relatively quickly. Does the opening of the state lead to a new outbreak of the disease?
Yesterday, a model the Trump administration uses increased its projected death toll after seeing more people moving around.
Just explosive increases in mobility in a number of states that we expect will translate into more cases and deaths, in 10 days from now.
Today, Arizona becomes the latest state to allow restaurants to reopen.
It's been hard not to see everyone.
Aioli Gourmet Burger removed some booths and put up barriers, but owner Tommy D'Ambrosio says serving fewer customers will be tough.
When you have to limit your capacity, it really makes it difficult to be able to make just enough money to still keep the lights on.
Halfway around the world, Shanghai Disneyland reopened today with limited visitors. It had been closed since January. Ian Lee, CBS News.
China is facing 9 lawsuits from U.S. businesses now, coronavirus patients, and 1 state. They all claim Chinese authorities didn't do enough to contain COVID-19 and tried to hide what they knew about the outbreak. 8 of the lawsuits are potential class actions that would represent thousands of people. The other was filed by Missouri's Attorney General. However, legal experts say suing another country comes with several challenges. The Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act states outside government performance cannot be sued in the U.S. unless specific exemptions are met. Lawyers say those will be tough to prove. The U.S. unemployment rate may get worse before it gets better, according to U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Friday, the Department of Labor reported 14.7% of Americans are unemployed. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett says by June, the unemployment rate could reach 20%, levels not seen since the Great Depression. April's unemployment numbers didn't stop Wall Street from continuing its rebound, though. The Dow closed Friday up 455 points. The Nasdaq was up 141. S&P 500 gained 48. As employees return to work, some companies are considering technology that will monitor movements and help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Accounting firm PwC has already begun using a tool like this as it only opened its location in Shanghai, China. The company developed an app that now tracks how close employees get to each other using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi signals on smartphones. PwC also has several locations in North America. Other tech companies based in the U.S. are working to create similar apps. Well, back here at home, breweries and tap rooms all across Montana are back in business now. MTN's Don Tibbetts tells us how one mining city brewery is helping to lead the way to make sure customers are safe.
The Butte Brewing Company is back and serving up local favorites to its loyal supporters. But the normal operating procedures within the staff there had to undergo some changes.
Well, it's just basically alternating the way we were doing things. And we have to seat people now, wait on them, so now we have to basically have waitresses, waiters.
The most important thing manager Jerry Beck stresses to his staff is keeping the facility clean. And that's how Butte Brewing Company has been able to get ahead and plan for ways to make sure everyone there can have a good time without having to worry about what they can and can't do.
They sanitize everything that gets touched, just around the clock. They just keep sanitizing anything get touched. Somebody comes in, sits at a table. We have a flag on the table that says that it has been sanitized and cleaned, so that's where you'd send somebody to sit down.
Some people may be hesitant to come back here with friends and enjoy a beautiful day, but the Butte Brewing Company has worked tirelessly to give all of its patrons a stress-free and, more importantly, a safe environment.
We've got lots of space. You don't have to get close to anybody that you're not comfortable getting close to. We have outside patio space that are well spread apart.
It's a small adjustment to make for a sense of normalcy to reintroduce itself back into our daily lives. In Butte, Dom Tibbetts, MTN News.
It's 5:08 on your Monday morning. Coming up, reunited. A service dog and his owner are back together after days apart, and a scary journey for that canine. The story is next.
And later in your weather forecast, can't rule out a few spotty showers today. Better chance, though, later in the day. 38 right now in Great Falls, 42 in the capital. Today's forecast, we are going to start to see some building clouds and then moisture moving in late in the day. That's our next weather maker. We'll tell you how that's going to impact your work week coming up shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Thanks for staying with us. We're glad to have you on this Monday. It is 5:11. In Missoula, a veteran service dog was found 4 days after it went missing with gunshot wounds. The dog survived and was reunited with his owner this weekend. MTN's Megan Mannering has the story.
For local veteran Tony Edis, his dog Luca is more than just a pet.
Luca just keeps me calm and takes care of me. And when I start getting all anxious and stuff, he comes right over there and got his head in my lap looking at me.
Not only does Luca monitor Edis's health, he keeps him company.
Just me and him.
So when Luca disappeared from home last week, Edis was beside himself.
I was outside for like about 6 to 8 hours walking all over the apartment complex and everything looking for him. And I'd get up in the morning and look over to where he normally sleeps and he wasn't there, and I'd freak out.
Nearly 4 days after Luca had gone missing, Animal Control received a call about a dog wandering around Cody Lane. That dog was Luca, and when they picked him up, they found that he was injured, and injured pretty badly with multiple gunshot wounds to the shoulder and the head.
I can't imagine a person even doing that. Why would you steal a dog and then take him clear across town and then shoot him?
But Luca survived and has since been reunited with his owner.
Really emotional. can't believe he survived all that.
In the coming weeks, Luca will be in and out of the Missoula Vet Clinic here for checkups. But as for those medical bills, well, they won't be an issue, as they've already been covered by the generosity of the community.
It blows my mind that everybody come and did that for Luca.
After a whirlwind of a week, Edith says he's just ready to get his pup back home.
Probably feed him and hug him and play with him for a while and toss his ball around.
In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
In health headlines this Monday morning, emergency rooms nationwide are being inundated with children seeking help for mental health issues. That's according to a 10-year study in the journal Pediatrics. Researchers found visits for mental health disorders rose by 60%, while visits for self-harm increased by over 300% for children between the ages of 5 to 17. The battle against COVID-19 is also having a negative impact on the fight against cancer. A survey of the American Cancer Society finds more than half report their research and training activities have been interrupted during the outbreak. Highgate Senior Living decided to make Mother's Day memorable this year with a drive-through parade for those moms and grandmas who couldn't spend the day with their families. MTN's Lindsay Hyatt stopped by the Senior Center to get in on those festivities.
For many families, this Mother's Day is unlike the rest. But the staff at Highgate Senior Living were committed to making this year's celebration the absolute best.
We usually do a Mother's Day brunch, and since we couldn't do that this year, I wanted to do something very special that our residents will never forget.
That's especially true for those families celebrating mothers and grandmothers with dementia, like Catlin Marcinek.
Kind of the only way we have to tell her Happy Mother's Day, and hopefully she can connect it.
While Marcinek isn't sure her mother will remember, she can do her best to make sure she doesn't forget.
Even though you think maybe they don't get it, she might get it.
And if not, that she would at least enjoy it.
That she would get excited and actually be able to see the sign and read it, and that she has fun.
And granddaughter Laura Booz didn't see her grandma in the parade, but wasn't taking that as a sign to quit.
Since we all were here and we haven't seen her in so long, we really wanted to make sure that she saw us and knows that we're here and that we care, and just that she knows we're thinking about her.
And with a little hooting, hollering, and help from the staff, she got her wish.
I was crying. It was super emotional for me, and my kids got to see her. She was so happy when she saw us all, and so I was really happy that the staff saw that and accommodated us.
So that everyone could have a Mother's Day worth remembering. In Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
Well, up next to your weather forecast, it was kind of a chilly weekend, a little bit of sunshine out there. Yesterday on Sunday, we hit 52. That's over 10 degrees below average for the year. As for today in Great Falls, we are going to be warming up slightly into the 40s and a couple of 50s out there. Yesterday in the capital, 55 degrees, 66 would be the norm. As for today, we're going to start out, and it's going to take a while to warm up later this afternoon. We'll see a couple of 50s. We'll talk about that forecast next.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on this Monday. The Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest is working to reopen their developed campgrounds by Memorial Day weekend.
MTN's Alexia Goyo has the details.
The Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest is ready to let cabins and campgrounds be rented once again. Rental facilities like cabins will begin a phased reopening after May 15th based on seasonal availability and facility conditions. The target date for having forest campgrounds open is May 22nd.
I've gotten a lot of questions on Facebook on when things will open, so I've been responding to those, and there is a lot of interest for sure. Folks are anxious to get out and enjoy the outdoors and be in nature.
The Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest
wants to remind everyone that they will not be cleaning rental facilities like cabins or lookout reservations. As in previous years, it's up to the individual renter to bring their own cleaning supplies and clean before and after the use of the site.
Some of it has to do with the remoteness of where these cabins are located, and the fact that we are focused also on our keeping our developed campgrounds maintained.
Those with existing cabin rental and lookout reservations will be notified if there are any changes. And if you do take this opportunity and stay, Amy reminds everyone to maintain campfires.
Definitely do not leave your campfire unattended at any time. If it's too hot to touch, it is too hot to leave.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTM News.
It makes me excited that we're talking about camping things, because I mean, summer's coming, we can get out, go hiking more, things like that.
It's not really feeling very summer-like.
No, not so much.
I mean, like this weekend, it was kind of rainy and cool. We got more of the rainy and cool stuff on the way. I think this next weekend right now is trending a little more mild. So.
Okay.
Fingers
We've had a couple days here and there that give us hope that it's coming.
A little glimmer.
And then we go back to needing multiple layers.
Yeah, I know. I think it kind of got, with the whole Corona thing, I think Mother Nature got mixed up too. Instead of the April showers, it's more like May showers are hopefully going to bring a couple June flowers. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully more than a couple. Yeah.
No kidding. Well, kind of a chilly start to the day. 38 degrees in Great Falls right now. 42 in the capital. Little chilly up in northeastern Montana as well. Jordan 26. So eastern Montana over the next day or so might need to bring the plants inside or throw a cover on some of the flowers out there as overnight lows getting close to freezing. With that said, not bad in the way of wind. It is going to be a little bit breezy at times today, though. Winds about 15, maybe 20 miles per hour later this afternoon, but not too bad across the board. High temperatures not vary. 50 degrees in Great Falls today, 51 in the capital. Looking at a couple low to mid 50s in northeastern Montana, southwestern Montana. Look at that, mid 40s today. Later in the day, we are going to be tracking some showers. We can't rule out a few little isolated showers through the first portion of the day, but a much better chance of moisture is going to move in late this afternoon and evening. We've got a big area of low pressure to our south. That's going to throw a little plume of moisture our way. So overnight, we're going to see some rain, and check it out. Mountain snow likely right along the Rocky Mountain front. So that's going to put overnight lows a little bit chilly tonight. 34 degrees in Great Falls. Lewistown right on track with freezing. Highline, definitely bring the plants inside. If you can, throw a blanket on some of the flowers. It's going to be right on track with freezing, so a little bit of morning frost not out of the question. By tomorrow morning, we're still going to see some snow along the Rocky Mountain front late tonight. First part of tomorrow, that's going to be the best chance for accumulating snow there into north central Montana, with just some lingering showers throughout the day on Tuesday. So with that said, winter weather advisory does go into effect tonight. That's going to take us through noon tomorrow. Could see up to 5 inches of snow, believe it or not. So checking out that Rocky Mountain front forecast, 1 to 3 in a lot of locations. Heart Butte, you could see 3 to 5. As we head off into the plains there, Shelby about 1 to 3. But there's quite a bit of moisture to work with this system, and just enough cold air to kind of kick off that snow along north central Montana. Overall precipitation forecast about 1/10 to maybe 1/4 of an inch as that system kind of moves up toward Hays there into north central Montana. Tomorrow's forecast very chilly with the inset of this system. 48 in Great Falls, 57 in the capital, a couple of low 50s there off in the plains as well. Next 7 days look like this for us. 50 degrees today, pretty cloudy. Rain moves in tonight, sticks with us pretty much all day Tuesday. Couple lingering showers not out of the question on Wednesday. We should start clearing up though Thursday. Friday's going to get cold though again as our next weather maker moves in. Likely going to kick off a couple of thunderstorms, Shannon.
Jason, thanks. It's 5:23 still to come on Montana this morning. We had a little weekend adventure up on a ranch. We'll have a look at that coming up next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Some good cow sounds there
Yeah.
this morning. Welcome back. This is a little video we took this weekend. Jason and I went on a little adventure, basically along the Canadian border up there.
Just a stone's throw.
Near Whitlash up there to help some friends of some friends.
Oh, there's me
branding up there.
Attempting to hold down a cow.
Yeah, there's both of us. I'm
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
helping
you got
hold,
in on this one,
hold the leg over there.
That's not the one that kicked me, I don't think.
No, but in the little babies.
yeah.
My favorite part was just hanging out with all the animals
I was gonna
and
say,
getting
Shannon
getting
was over
video.
with all the little baby cows.
I was, yeah,
prior to
trying to
their
get them
fate.
to. Right. Yes, but all done very well. These people know what
Yeah.
they're doing. They know how to take care of their herd. All done very well up there.
Yeah, it was
There's you
quite
again.
an operation. Had a good lunch there and everything. Little
Yeah.
baby cows out there, but no, it It was like a finely tuned machine up there.
It was.
That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
We had a
very
lot of good
impressive.
turnout too. So I mean, it went really quick. We were done by about 1:30. You know. So I mean, it was a pretty quick day.
Fresh air. So
Yeah.
you saw sun in the video. What you didn't see was when we got hailed on.
Rain, hail, had some sleet for a little while, wind.
Yeah.
And then sun once we were done.
Yeah,
You know,
all
that
of
sort
it.
of thing. But
You know, it was kind of funny. I'm an animal lover, so one of my favorite parts was, you know, just hearing the animals, things like that. But some of those cows, you know, they're mooing, but some of them, you should do the impression.
No,
some of them
they sound
like goats or humans.
like a little goat scream. It's not even a disturbing scream. It's just like a
it's just funny because
it's
it doesn't
funny,
sound like a cow.
99% of them are like mooing, you know,
Right,
and then you
there's
get one of them that just kind of
yeah.
has a scream to it.
Yeah. They're just funny. Yeah, not
And then
because
some
they're
it
being
doesn't-
hurt or something.
No,
That's just the
no.
noise that they make.
And then
yeah.
what always also cracks me up too is like just the difference in personalities. You know, you'll get one that like, meh, whatever, no big deal, and then the next one it's like, oh my gosh, you know, can't handle any of this
Well,
is
it's
going
like
on.
how different people respond because they got vaccines and things too.
Right,
So how
right.
different people respond going to the doctor.
Yeah,
probably
sounds
too.
like me when I'm getting my shots. Yeah, pretty accurate there. Kind of a chilly start to the day and plenty of clouds out there as well. 38 degrees in Great Falls, 42 in the capital, and chilly along the high line, looking at the low 30s there. Garden forecast over the next couple of days. Well, some showers today, much better chance of rain tomorrow. So I don't think you're going to need to throw any water on the garden today. Still pretty wet coming off of the weekend. Definitely not tomorrow. Play it by ear Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we're still tracking a little bit of moisture there. So slowly but surely, temperatures will warm up, but not for the first part of the week. So 50 degrees today, then 48 tomorrow, pretty widespread rain setting in. We'll start to warm up a little bit on Wednesday. Thursday will be the warmest with a couple more storms likely heading our way on Friday.
Well, the grocery store hamburger may be better quality cut than before, and Americans are pumping gas again as states reopen.
Jane King is in New York with all the details.
Americans are starting to get back behind the wheel. That's welcome news for the companies that turn oil into gasoline and diesel. Fuel makers, including Valero and Phillips 66, have said they expect the gas demand to continue to rebound after plunging to half of normal levels in April. Well, the ground beef at many supermarkets is quietly getting upgraded with better cuts that would normally go to restaurants. While ground chuck, round, and sirloin is typically made with leftover trimmings, much of the packaged burger meat turning up on shelves now is cut with premium stuff like brisket, chuck steak, and short ribs. That's according to Urner Barry, a price reporting agency for the meat industry. Elon Musk is threatening to take Tesla out of California. He's being prevented from reopening production of a factory there by health officials. He tweeted that he may move the factory to Nevada or Texas instead. And U.S. ranchers are looking forward to the results of an investigation into market manipulation as low livestock prices threaten their survival. Now, farmers are becoming unhinged as livestock gluts, exacerbated by a wave of slaughterhouse closings, are coinciding with record high wholesale beef prices, according to the American Farm Bureau. From New York, I'm Jane King with your Ag and Energy Report.
Coming up this half hour on Montana This Morning, some encouraging news when it comes to coronavirus in the state. We'll take a look at the latest numbers. Plus, relief funding has been approved for school districts across the country, what it means for us here in Montana. And later, an investigation into meat packing as profits for the U.S. processors reach record levels, what the president is now saying. Montana This Morning starts now.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Good morning. We're glad to have you with us. I'm Shannon Newth, and it is Monday, May 11th, 2020.
Yeah, kicking off another work week already. I'm Jason Laird. Kind of a chilly start to the work week, too.
Yeah, it's been maybe deceivingly or
Yeah.
just maybe mentally deceiving for me because I'm
Right.
like, oh, it should be warm.
Right,
and then
right.
the
You always think,
wind
you know,
is
the
not
April
warm.
showers bring May flowers is more like the May showers possibly bringing some June flowers.
We can
Fingers
help.
crossed.
We can
but
help, yes.
Yeah, no, we well, as you just saw later last show, you know, we were up north here this weekend.
Mhm.
We had all sorts of weather.
It was
up
not
there.
warm.
Not really.
Mm-mm.
No. I mean, it had quite a bite to it, a little bit of hail, a little bit of rain, and we're going to continue with that rainy trend early this week. As you notice, a cloudy start to the day. A couple little isolated sprinkles not out of the question early today as well. 38 degrees in Great Falls, Cutbank sitting at 35 right now. Lewistown at about 34, Glasgow at 31. Definitely going to have to keep an eye on the forecast over the next couple of days. If you have a garden in or some fresh flowers outside, you might be covering those up or bringing them inside over the next couple of days, as we are going to be tracking more temperatures well below average. So cooler start to the week, rain, and yeah, get this, some Pretty decent snow en route as well. We'll tell you where that's expected, and a little bit warmer later this week with a couple more thunderstorms. We'll break down your weekly forecast coming up very shortly. Shannon.
All right, thanks, Jason. On the coronavirus front this morning, there's more good news to start off our week here in Montana. There are no new cases to report under the big sky. Our total of confirmed cases remains at 458 statewide. There are 20 active cases. In total, there have been 16 reported cases in both Cascade and Lewis and Clark counties. 4 people are currently hospitalized for complications attributed to COVID-19. 422 Montanans have recovered so far. Across the country this morning, the number of coronavirus deaths in the U.S. is expected to surge past 80,000 today. The death toll projections from the University of Washington, often cited by the White House, were revised upward over the weekend to 137,000 by August 4th. This was the second upward revision in a week due to the increase of cases and deaths as some businesses in states begin to reopen. The U.S. Department of Education approved the Montana Office of Public Instruction's application for elementary and secondary school emergency relief funds under the Federal CARES Act. Montana will receive over $41 million to support local school districts in responding to the coronavirus outbreak. Of that amount, about $37 million will go directly to local school districts who will have wide discretion over how to use those funds. The state also receives about $4 million to set aside to provide additional support to schools. Superintendent Elsie Arntzen is using a portion of the state money to ensure that every Montana school district receives at least $10,000.
So it's important that even our tiniest schools, who oftentimes have the least amount of flexibility within their budget, it's important that they got a considerable boost because they're having to spend money just like the big districts on technology services that they didn't budget for.
School districts should be able to access those funds next week and will have until September to use them. Coming up this Friday, gyms and fitness centers will have the option to reopen if they're following social distancing guidelines. After being excluded from Phase 1, gyms will soon be able to operate at 50% capacity. Hand sanitizer must be available and staff must clean frequently throughout the day. Employees and club members should wear masks and group classes are still not allowed indoors. Here in Great Falls, Access Fitness manager Greg Hall said gyms have been waiting for a concrete timeline to return. He's optimistic, but said that gym members must follow guidelines strictly or it won't work out.
The number one thing is we're going to have to get a lot of information out to the members before they come here, when they come here, while they're here, and even after they leave here, because it's important that we've done everything we could possibly do to clean the place up. But without good participation of the consumer, our member, it'll look all for naught. So it's going to be an educational process for them and us as well.
Before going back to your gym, make sure to check with their website or Facebook page to get the most up-to-date information about their specific operations. It is Monday morning. The time is 5:36. Coming up, the meat market has been hit pretty hard by COVID-19. We'll hear how a Helen area shop is handling the shortage.
And later in your weather forecast, well, colder air remains planted over top of the state today and not a lot of hope as we head through the first half of the week or so. Over the next 24 hours, we are going to see some building clouds today into tonight and more substantial moisture with all that warm air staying to our south. We'll break down your forecast shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back to Montana This Morning. As profits for U.S. meat processors reach record levels, the U.S. beef cattle industry is questioning whether or not antitrust laws were broken, especially as cattlemen receive less money for their livestock, even as consumer demand remains strong. Now, President Trump is weighing in. With more on the story, here's the Montana Ag Network's Russell Nimitz.
Well, as the spread between the price of live cattle and box beef continues to widen, President Trump is answering the call from the U.S. beef cattle industry to have the U.S. Justice Department look into allegations that U.S. meat processors broke antitrust laws as prices paid to producers have declined even as consumer demand remains strong and meat processors continue to enjoy record profits.
We're asking the Justice Department to look into it, okay?
I've asked them to take a very serious look into it because it shouldn't be happening that way. And we want to protect our farmers. But they're looking into that very strongly.
The president's comments come on the heels of a recent letter to U.S. Attorney General William Barr by several state attorney generals, including Montana's Tim Fox, also requesting an investigation.
We need to not only investigate this, but we, I believe, need to trust bust these 4 large meat packers. And we need to get to a more regional market system where we have processors that are either in Montana or close to Montana. We need to look at having co-ops and other ways in which we can market the best beef in the world here from Montana, label it Montana beef, and make sure that our consumers and our producers are protected.
And just last month, the Montana Stock Growers Association joined 22 other state cattlemen's associations in also requesting an investigation into beef pricing margins. In Billings, Russell Nemetz, MTN News.
Kaiser Meats in Helena is predicting a pork shortage this fall. MTN's Alexia Guayo sat down with the owner to see what this means for consumers.
I keep buying them until that we satisfied the market. Well, we didn't satisfy the market. We just had to finally shut it off because we sold well over 800, and we're a relatively small shop for taking on that big of a bite. But we didn't know that we would sell that many, and we basically sold that many in 3 days.
Matt is referring to this, a sale of processing an entire pig for just $300. Kaiser Meat says the price is low because processing plants had to close due to the pandemic, which makes the hog's price low. But that may not last long because, as it says in the sale, there's an incoming pork shortage.
Matt says some hog farms had to euthanize some of their baby pigs because they didn't know how long this pandemic would last.
Now you've got a week or 10-day block in there that there aren't going to be any hogs available, so that's where the shortage is going to come.
Matt predicts the price of pork and possibly other meats will go up between September to October of this year. He says he won't be surprised if an average $2.50 pork chop will go up to about $5. So what can consumers do to prepare for this shortage?
Go to the fair this summer and buy a pig at the fair and buy it local and get it processed local. It's going to be a consumer education deal for people that have never bought a half a beef or a whole hog or a half a hog or any, they've always went to the grocery store and bought exactly what they wanted.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
Well, up next, your weather forecast, a very chilly start to the week and more rain en route. As for this morning, just cloudy skies throughout, 38 in Great Falls, 42 in the capital. Very chilly along the High Line. If you have some plants, you might need to bring them in over the next couple of days as we're likely going to see some morning frost. Mowing forecast, well, today not bad. Then more rain Tuesday, staying wet on Wednesday, kind of starting to improve on Thursday. We'll talk more about the forecast coming up after the break.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Jason Laird.
Good morning, friends. Hopefully your Monday's off to a great start. A chilly start to the day, 38 degrees in Great Falls, 42 in the capital. Much warmer west of the divide, northeastern Montana, dropping just below freezing. Checking out Jordan over into Glendive. Mid-20s this morning. A little bit of wind on tap today, not too bad. Maybe breeze up to about 15, maybe winds at 20 miles per hour, slightly stronger gusts at times, and we'll continue to stay a little bit breezy over the next couple of days. But today's high temperatures still on the chilly side, about 10 to 15 degrees below average. 50 degrees in Great Falls today, 51 in the capital, looking at the low 50s in northeastern Montana. As the day plays out later this afternoon, more building clouds over the mountains and a big area of low pressure is going to go straight to our south, and that's going to shoot a big plume of moisture across the state here through the evening and overnight into tomorrow. Some of that is going to change to snow. I'll show you that momentarily. Overnight lows mid-30s for a good chunk of the state. However, as we head to the High Line and into the core of Montana there is going to be a couple areas that'll be touching right along freezing, so it wouldn't hurt to maybe bring the plants in if you can, or throw a blanket on some of those freshly planted flowers outside. So the best potential for snow snow is going to be just north of Great Falls along the Rocky Mountain front up into Cut Bank here tomorrow. We'll see that kind of taper off around the noon hour with just some lingering showers throughout the area. A little bit better chance of some spotty showers tomorrow afternoon. So with that snow moving through, winter weather advisory goes into effect tonight through noon tomorrow. Could see up to 5 inches of snow in this area. So the snow forecast for the Rocky Mountain front, Hart Butte looks to kind of catch the brunt of it, with the outskirting areas about 1 to 3 inches of accumulation likely. And you notice that's kind of the only pocket for snow. Maybe some of the higher peaks picking up a little bit of a dusting. Overall precipitation about 1/10 of an inch, maybe up to 1/4 as we head just north there into Havre, Hayes, maybe picking up a little bit more as that system moves through. Highs tomorrow, not much warmer, actually a little colder, 48 degrees in Great Falls, 57 in the capital, and looking at a couple of low 40s along the High Line. We will start to warm things up, though, on Wednesday. However, we're still going to stay below seasonable averages. Next 7 days, here's how everything trends for us. 50 and cloudy today, rain moving in. Couple spotty showers today before that main system moves in, not out of the question. More widespread rain into Wednesday. Right now, we should dry up nicely by Thursday. However, Friday, our next weather maker is going to likely kick off some showers and thunderstorms. Shannon?
It's 5:49 on your Monday morning. Still to come here on Montana This Morning, virtual visits. Humans aren't the only ones connecting through Zoom and FaceTime. The story is next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back to Montana This Morning. Time now 5:51. I make that 5:52, just about 8 minutes away from 6 o'clock here to kick things off on this Monday. And video calls are bringing family and friends together during coronavirus closures and quarantine.
And as CBS's Nancy Chen shows us, some are also taking people for a walk on the wild side.
The cows, llamas, and goats at this Northern California farm are figuring out their best angles.
He's super friendly.
Nate Salpeter is a co-founder of Sweet Farm, a nonprofit sanctuary now offering animal cameos on Zoom. He says demand is so high, they've booked more than 600 appointments. Sessions start at $65 for a happy hour appearance, with extended tours for $250.
What's been some of the more unique events that you've been part of?
Let's see, we had our first wedding that we called into the other day. We called in with Paco the llama.
These video calls are going to the dogs. Ricochet is a surfing therapy dog in San Diego. Her handler, Judy Fredono, was inspired by their work with veterans, so she's now offering free virtual visits to healthcare workers under stress.
If you hold back your anger, that just ends up festering. So if you can tell Ricochet what you're angry about, it doesn't affect anybody.
Diana Muchagamba spent an hour talking with Ricochet. The San Antonio nurse has been working with critically ill coronavirus patients.
I feel good having let it out, having had someone to listen without judgment. That was hugely important.
While the visits are virtual, the much needed relief is not.
It's a way to, break from the norm, the new norm, I should say, and get outside even through a video screen. It's a very uplifting opportunity for folks.
Making staying in until the cows come home a bit easier. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
$65 an hour.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What?
We got some free in-person therapy with some cows and horses this weekend.
Yeah, we definitely. $65 an hour.
Do you want to? Our wedding's coming up. Should we
Should
we call in the llama?
No.
No?
No. I mean, if you want a real llama, fine, but calling in a virtual llama, pass. Like what? Okay, I get it. Like you, Carter, roll the weather. What in the world? Like, what did I just watch?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Like
Animals are good therapy, but that's
just
a lot of money.
when you think you've seen it all. Virtual dates with animals. I mean,
well, it's not.
Well, no, I know it's not date,
but
yeah. Okay. Pollen for, hey, good news here. With all the rain, pollen levels very low. Medium here to start things out. Very low Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe kicking up a little tiny bit there on Friday, but overall, the sniffly, sneezy time of the year kind of taking a little bit of a break on us here. Hour-by-hour forecast. If you don't already have it, download the Storm Tracker weather app. Keep you up to date here. Cloudy start to the day. Tiny bit more sun later in the day, but as you notice, temperature staying very cool for both Great Falls and the capital. As for daytime highs here today, we're going to see about 50 degrees in Great Falls, relatively cloudy. Some spotty showers early in the day, more widespread showers as our next system starts knocking at our doorstep. We're going to see those showers take us through Tuesday and kind of finally start to move out on Wednesday.
All right, stay with us. Your Farm and Ranch Report from the Montana Ag Network is next.
Kate?
Coming up this half hour on Montana This Morning, encouraging news when it comes to coronavirus in the state. We'll look at the latest numbers.
White House workers are in self-quarantine as the president works to reopen the country. I'm Ian Lee with the latest on COVID-19.
And later, painting a new future, a Great Falls business is utilizing their artistic talents to rebound. Montana This Morning starts now.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Thanks for making us a part of your Monday morning. I'm Shannon Newth. It is May 11th, 2020.
I'm Jason Laird. A bit of a chilly start to the day. Not much in the way of wind, at least now. We'll probably get a little bit breezy, so going to feel a little bit chilly.
That's what's made the difference, I feel like, lately, is that it feels pretty warm, like I think it's warm out, and then the breeze kicks up even just a little bit, and it's like, whew, never mind.
Right.
Yeah,
well, of course, you're always looking at the wrong temperature in the pickup, though, too.
Well, yeah.
Because, on your digital gauge there, it has the outside temperature, and Shannon's always looking at the inside temperature. It's like, oh, it doesn't feel like 62 outside. No, that's the AC.
That does happen, but that's just in your pickup. I don't get confused like that all the time.
I'm going to start keeping track of how many times. Yes, it doesn't feel like 62 out. No, that's inside, Shan. That's inside. Well, as for outside right now on the U.S. Bank ICAM, 36 degrees. A little bit of a breeze out there. We'll see slightly stronger winds as the day plays out here with some spotty showers as well. 50, better chance of rain here later this afternoon and evening. Opportunity Bank ICAM in the capital. Cloudy and 41 degrees. Some wind out of the north at 9 miles an hour right now. We'll see a daytime high of 51 under cloudy skies with, again, a little bit of rain this afternoon. Likely better chance on Tuesday. Forecast headlines moving forward. Cooler temperatures to start out the work week. Rain and snow. Get that moving in. Then a little bit warmer later this week. We'll talk more about that snow and where it's going to be coming up very shortly. Shannon.
Thanks, Jason. We begin this half hour with the search for a missing man. Cascade County officials say that 22-year-old Tyler Jordan Blodgett, also known as Tyler Hardy, was last seen on Hughesville Road on a motorcycle early Sunday morning. His motorcycle was recovered. He was believed to be on foot. Tyler was last seen wearing a brown jacket, black baseball hat, orange Alpine racing pants, and cowboy boots. Crews were searching for him on the ground and in the air. We'll update you when we learn more. On the coronavirus front this morning, there's good news to start off our week here in Montana. There are no new cases to report under the big sky. Our total of confirmed cases remains at 458. Statewide, there are 20 active cases. In total, there have been 16 reported cases in both Cascade and Lewis and Clark counties. 4 people are currently hospitalized for complications attributed to COVID-19. 422 Montanans have recovered so far. Across the nation this morning, Vice President Mike Pence has tested negative for the coronavirus after his press secretary contracted the virus. Katie Miller is at least the second person around the administration to test positive, and it's caused a shakeup at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. At least 3 top health officials are now self-quarantining as a precaution. Today, President Trump will hold a Rose Garden press conference with the focus on testing. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
It is scary to go to work.
White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said he'd feel safer at home after some aides tested positive for the coronavirus.
It's a small, crowded place. It's a little bit risky, but you have to do it because you have to serve your country.
3 top health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, are now quarantining on some level after coming in contact with at least one of them.
Reopening.
Meanwhile, President Trump's economic team hit the Sunday talk shows to discuss the pandemic's financial toll.
There's a considerable risk of not reopening. You're talking about what would be permanent economic damage.
Hassett says the White House is closely watching states that have reopened.
We're watching very closely what happens to those states get their economies up relatively quickly. Does the opening of the state lead to a new outbreak of the disease?
Yesterday, a model the Trump Trump administration uses increased its projected death toll after seeing more people moving around.
Just explosive increases in mobility in a number of states that we expect will translate into more cases and deaths, in 10 days from now.
Today, Arizona becomes the latest state to allow restaurants to reopen.
It's been hard not to see everyone.
Aioli Gourmet Burger removed some booths and put up barriers, but owner Tommy D'Ambrosio says serving fewer customers will be tough.
When you have to limit your capacity, it really makes it difficult to be able to make just enough money to still keep the lights on.
Halfway around the world, Shanghai Disneyland reopened today with limited visitors. It had been closed since January. Ian Lee, CBS News.
China is now facing 9 lawsuits from U.S. businesses, coronavirus patients, and one state. They all claim Chinese authorities didn't do enough to contain COVID-19 and tried to hide what they knew about the outbreak. 8 of the lawsuits are potential class actions that would represent thousands of people. The other was filed by Missouri's Attorney General. However, legal experts say suing another country comes with several challenges. The Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act states outside governments can't be sued in the U.S. unless specific exemptions are met. Lawyers say those will be tough to prove. The U.S. unemployment rate may get worse before it gets better. That's according to the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Friday, the Department of Labor reported 14.7% of Americans are unemployed. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett says by June, the unemployment rate could reach 20%, levels not seen since the Great Depression. April's unemployment numbers didn't stop Wall Street from continuing its rebound, though. The Dow closed Friday up 455 points. The Nasdaq was up 141. The S&P 500 gained 48. Here at home, Brush Crazy in Great Falls took a hit from the coronavirus restrictions, with patrons not allowed inside their Central Avenue studio. They had to get pretty creative. MTN's Matt Holzaffel shares the story of finding light even in the dark.
When the whole COVID thing hit, we had to scramble because we weren't allowed to have customers come into the studio.
In the face of coronavirus restrictions and social distancing guidelines,
What we had to do is reinvent our business.
first, Brush Crazy started offering to-go art kits, spelled G-O-G-H, like Vincent van Gogh. You know, the art, you get it. Then, an opportunity to pursue an old idea.
It honestly has been super, super tough, but what it's also opened up on the positive side is our virtual classes. And so with virtual classes, we can do a Zoom meeting or a Google Hangouts or whatever we want to use for our platform, and customers will have a link to join us, and then we'll teach the class through that process.
Virtual classes had always been a thought for Brush Crazy, which also has studios in Columbus, Ohio and Colorado Springs. The rise in popularity of virtual meeting hubs like Zoom and Google Hangouts paved the way for this, a part virtual, part in-person painting class.
People can still even come in, pick up their kit, take it home, and paint from home and join the Zoom meeting as well. So in Ohio, that's of course 2 hours difference, and Colorado Springs can still join in as well on the Zoom meeting.
And it's more convenient as well.
That way each studio can have their own artist teaching certain classes. It does still help on labor because now we'll have, instead of 3 different people being paid, we have 1 person being paid to teach the class. So that helps all 3 studios, save on their resources.
Sunday's class was the first combination virtual and in-person class, just in time for Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
6:09 on your Monday morning. Coming up on Montana This Morning, reunited. A service dog and his owner are back together after days apart and a scary journey. Their story is next.
And later in your weather forecast, kind of a chilly start to the work week here. If you did want to do a little fishing here this week, not awful today. Highs in the low 50s, some wind out there and a couple of sprinkles. Tuesday, more widespread rain lingering into Wednesday. Talk more about your weekly forecast coming up shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back to Montana This Morning. It is 6:12 on your Monday. In Missoula, a veteran service dog was found 4 days after it went missing with gunshot wounds. The dog survived and was reunited with his owner this weekend. MTN's Megan Mannering has the story.
For local veteran Tony Edis, his dog Luca is more than just a pet.
Luca just keeps me calm and takes care of me.
And when I start getting all anxious and stuff, he comes right over there and got his head in my lap looking at me.
Not only does Luca monitor Edis's health, he keeps him company.
Just me and him.
So when Luca disappeared from home last week, Edis was beside himself.
I was outside for like about 6 to 8 hours walking all over the apartment complex and everything looking for him. And I'd get up in the morning and look over to where he normally sleeps and he wasn't there, and I'd freak out.
Nearly 4 days after Luca had gone missing, Animal Control received a call about a dog wandering around Cody Lane. That dog was Luca, and when they picked him up, they found that he was injured pretty badly, with multiple gunshot wounds to the shoulder and the head.
I can't imagine a person even doing that. Why would you steal a dog and then take him clear across town and then shoot him?
But Luca survived and has since been reunited with his owner.
I'm really emotional. I can't believe he survived all that.
In the coming weeks, Luca will be in and out of the Missoula Vet Clinic here for checkups. But as for those medical bills, well, they won't be an issue, as they've already been covered by the generosity of the community.
It blows my mind that everybody come and did that for Luca.
After a whirlwind of a week, Edis says he's just ready to get his pup back home.
Probably feed him and hug him and play with him for a while and toss his ball around.
In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
Up next, your weather forecast. We're tracking a cooler than average start to your work week with some area showers. Kind of cloudy to start things off for most of central and north central Montana. More sun along the Highline and northeastern Montana, but very cold in that region. Now, the good news is with the recent rain, the allergy and pollen forecast a little bit on the lower side today. Pretty minimal levels, especially Tuesday and Wednesday as more rain moves into the area. We'll talk about your forecast next.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Jason Laird.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully your day's off to a great start. Kind of a chilly start to the day, but with a little less wind, it doesn't feel too bad out there. The high line, though, just below freezing. Check out Jordan and Glendive right now, mid-20s in that region. We will see a little bit of an uptick in wind today. Not bad, mostly just breezy up through the noon hour and early this afternoon. Maybe a little bit gusty at times as our next weather maker starts knocking at our doorstep. 50 degrees in Great Falls for the daytime high, so about 10 to 15 degrees below average for a good chunk of our area, looking at the low 50s in northeastern Montana as well. Later this afternoon, we'll continue to see building clouds across central Montana. Then a pretty healthy plume of moisture is going to move through the state. Reason behind that, an area of low pressure is tracking just to our south, and that's pulling that Pacific moisture across the state. Some of this is going to turn to snow late tonight into the first part of tomorrow morning. So with that said, 34 degrees in Great Falls this evening. Pretty chilly out there. Might want to bring the plants inside, throw a blanket on some of those plants you can't bring inside, because notice especially along the high line, temperatures flirting with freezing, so a little bit of morning frost not out of the question. Overnight and tomorrow morning, that moisture likely turning to snow just north of Great Falls along the Rocky Mountain front. Could see some decent accumulations in that area, and then the remainder of tomorrow, we're just going to see some isolated showers throughout the day, a little bit more widespread into the afternoon. So with that said, winter weather advisory in effect for the highlighted region. That goes into effect tonight through noon tomorrow, and we'll likely see about 5 inches in some areas there. So that snow forecast. St. Mary about 3 to 5. Same story for Hart Butte. The surrounding areas, better chance of about 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. Just cold enough and just enough moisture in that region that a little bit of accumulation not out of the question as that system kind of moves into north central Montana. For the remainder of the state, rain-wise, likely about 1/10 to maybe 1/4 of an inch along north central Montana into Hayes there as that system travels through. Quite a bit colder tomorrow following that system. 48 degrees in Great Falls, 57 in the capital. Over the next 7 days, here's how it all plays out for us. Looking at building clouds today. Spotty early showers not out of the question, but a better chance of more widespread rain overnight into tomorrow, and some lingering showers likely into Wednesday as well. We'll start to kick those temperatures up a couple of notches on Thursday. Our next weather maker likely knocking at our doorstep on Friday, kicking off a few thunderstorms. Shannon.
Thanks, Jason. 10 minutes now to the bottom of the hour, 6:20 here on your Monday. And in this month's edition of A Waiting Child, MTN's Jenny Fick introduces us to 12-year-old Anthony.
Anthony is very creative. He loves storytelling. He loves Pokemon, though he can't pick a favorite.
Mewtwo. Okay, that's the strongest Pokemon.
Is ready for a successful discharge from New Day. So that goes to show that he's completed all of his goals that he's worked on for over a year. Does struggle with mean people. That really bothers him. So he's just a very kind-hearted, just sweet boy.
Anthony is off the charts intelligent with a wide knowledge of all the interworkings of video games and computers.
He is someone who's never complained about his situation. He has said that he would love to just have two parents who love him, and he would love to have an older brother that would play with him. Of course, a family with pets or a dog. Being somewhere where he knows that he's content and permanent and is comfortable.
You go in the wheel.
He is really funny.
I want to bring in something sweet. Cake pie. Like throw pie and cake. Together.
I love it. And he's really, really good at Uno. He beats me in Uno pretty much every time we play, so no mercy.
In Billings, Jenny Fick, MTN News.
Up on Montana this morning, Jason and I spent the weekend on a ranch. We'll have a look at our weekend adventure coming up next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Love that. Just come back from the break. All right. Well, this was a look at our adventures near the Canadian border this weekend. Yeah, Jason and I went.
Literally a stone's throw
It
from
really
the Canadian
was.
border.
My cell phone pinged that, like, hey, you're entering Canada.
Welcome to Canada.
Yeah, so north of Whitlash, helping some friends of friends branding.
Yeah, wrestle down
there we
some.
are.
Yeah, Shannon even got in there. Look at her.
Helping hold one of the legs
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
I mostly liked this part.
Yeah, I was
getting
going to say, if she wasn't
look at all
there,
the little babies.
Tackling any calves, she was over hanging out with the calves before they met their inevitable fate.
Which, lasted a few seconds. They got all their shots, got all ready to go there.
Branded
there you
up,
are.
ready to go. Oh, yeah, there I am. Yeah, no, it was a fun time. Finally tuned machine up there.
It was. They had a very good procedure for getting things kind of done quickly, efficiently. You know, they know what they're doing up there.
Yeah, no, it was a fun time. Had a good turnout. You know, we ended up getting everything done by about 1:32.
Yeah, only took a few hours, but like about 300
I would
calves?
say 350, 300 heads, somewhere in there. Yeah, so decent amount of calves, nothing too crazy, but we got her done and had a good lunch afterwards. And yeah, it was a fun time and had quite the adventure getting there. Stopped by the Laird farm on the way up and cut across, you know, right just, it'd be just east of the Sweetgrass there. And it was a little bit muddy through the hills.
Did a little
there.
back road to get from the farm over to the branding.
Took a solid 35 minutes yesterday to get all the mud off.
Bogging through the mud there on the way.
There's still a fair amount caked up under there. So yeah, quite the adventure, this weekend.
And it hailed on us a little bit.
Yeah, well, we had everything. We had rain and hail and sleet and wind and sun and, you know, typical Montana weather for you, especially in spring. Kind of a cloudy start to the day, a little bit of sunshine along the high line, northeastern Montana, however, very cold in that region. Havre 31 degrees, 30 right now in Glasgow. Gardening forecast, probably not having to water today, just due to all the recent moisture. Tomorrow, for sure not, as more widespread rain continues, and kind of play it by ear Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the terms of throwing a little bit of water there on the plants. 50 degrees today, still cooler Tuesday. We will start to warm up on Wednesday. However, again, widespread showers move in tonight and a little bit of mountain snow as well. We'll give you a more detailed look at that forecast shortly.
I like it. Mother Nature helping me with my garden there. All right, we're back right after this. Don't go away. Coming up this half hour on Montana This Morning, encouraging news when it comes to coronavirus in the state. We'll have a look at the latest numbers.
White House workers are in self-quarantine as the president works to reopen the country. I'm Ian Lee with the latest on COVID-19.
And later, an investigation into meatpacking as profits for U.S. processors reach record levels. What the president is now saying. Montana This Morning starts now.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Good morning. We're glad to have you with us on this Monday. It is May 11th, 2020. I'm Shannon Newth.
And I'm Jason Laird. Bit of a chilly start to the day, but at least we're not having the wind, at least right now.
Okay.
So that doesn't make it feel quite
Any
as cold
moment that we
outside.
don't have the cold wind, we'll be thankful for that.
Yeah, well, and that was the other thing. You know, we just showed you the branding up north there, and man, that wind had a bite to it
It
this weekend.
did, yes. When the sun went away and the wind came out,
Right,
whew,
right. Well, and you're
needed
kind of
those layers.
sandwiched, you know, on the north side of the Sweetgrass there, and you have a couple of hills there in Canada, and you're just right in
It's
between.
an
you get that
interesting
cold
weather
wind.
spot, from what I hear.
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to forecast. I'm just gonna throw that
So there
in the
you
mix.
go.
I caught enough guff about
Yes,
that this
you
weekend.
did.
With that said, U.S. Bank ICAM here, very cloudy start. But look how green it is.
I like it.
Yeah, Flag Hill there in the
Green
background.
and bright it is already.
Green and bright. Yeah, Shannon's all about the sunshine. 36 degrees, some wind, but very minimal out of the northeast. We'll see the wind kick up a little bit here today as our next weather maker starts knocking at our doorstep. And to keep you up to date, make sure you download that Storm Tracker weather app. Keep you up to date on your hour-by-hour forecast. 41 right now in the capital on the Opportunity Bank ICAM. You'll notice 40s this morning and struggling to get into the 50s here this afternoon. So a bit of a chilly day on tap with some rain moving in. So cooler temperatures, rain, and get this, even some snow in central Montana, but warmer later this week. We'll break down that forecast and talk about the snow we're expecting very shortly. Shannon.
Jason, thank you. On the coronavirus front this morning, there's some more good news to start off our week here in Montana. There are no new cases to report under the big sky. Our total of confirmed cases remains at 458. Statewide, there are 20 active cases. In total, there have been 16 cases reported in both Cascade and Lewis and Clark counties. 4 people are currently hospitalized for complications attributed to COVID-19. 422 Montanans have recovered so far. Across the country this morning, Vice President Mike Pence has tested negative for coronavirus as his press secretary contracted it. Katie Miller is at least the second person around the administration to test positive. It's caused a bit of a shakeup at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. At least 3 top health officials are now self-quarantining as a precaution. Today, the president will hold a Rose Garden press conference with the focus on testing. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
It is scary to go to work.
White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said he'd feel safer at home after some aides tested positive for the coronavirus.
It's a small, crowded place. You know, it's a little bit risky, but you have to do it because you have to serve your country.
3 top health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, are now quarantining on some level after coming in contact with at least one of them.
Reopening.
Meanwhile, President Trump's economic team hit the Sunday talk shows to discuss the pandemic's financial toll.
There's a considerable risk of not reopening. You're talking about what would be permanent economic damage.
Hassett says the White House is closely watching states that have reopened.
We're watching very closely what happens. Do those states get their economies up relatively quickly? Does the opening of the state lead to a new outbreak of the disease?
Yesterday, a model the Trump administration uses increased its projected death toll after seeing more people moving around.
Just explosive increases in mobility in a number of states that we expect will translate into more cases and deaths, in 10 days from now.
Today, Arizona becomes the latest state to allow restaurants to reopen.
It's been hard not to see everyone.
Aioli Gourmet Burger removed some booths and put up barriers, but owner Tommy D'Ambrosio says serving fewer customers will be tough.
When you have to limit your capacity, it really makes it difficult to be able to make just enough money to still keep the lights on.
Halfway around the world, Shanghai Disneyland reopened today with limited visitors. It had been closed since January. Ian Lee, CBS News.
China is now facing 9 lawsuits from U.S. businesses, coronavirus patients, and 1 state. They all claim Chinese authorities didn't do enough to contain COVID-19 and tried to hide what they knew about the outbreak. 8 of the lawsuits are potential class actions that would represent thousands of people. The other was filed by Missouri's Attorney General. However, legal experts say suing another country comes with several challenges. The Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act states outside governments cannot be sued in the U.S. unless specific exceptions are met. Lawyers say those will be tough to prove. The U.S. Department of Education approved the Montana Office of Public Instruction's application for elementary and secondary school emergency relief funds under the Federal CARES Act. Montana will receive over $41 million to support local school districts in responding to the coronavirus outbreak. Of that amount, about $37 million will go directly to local school districts who have wide discretion over how to use those funds. The state also receives about $4 million to set aside to provide additional support to schools. Superintendent Elsie Arnson is using a portion of the state money to ensure every Montana school district receives at least $10,000.
So it's important that even our tiniest schools, who oftentimes have the least amount of flexibility within their budget, it's important that they got a considerable boost because they're having to spend money just like the big districts on technology services that they didn't budget for.
School districts should be able to access their funds next week and will have until September to use them. Coming up this Friday, gyms and fitness centers have the option to reopen if they follow social distancing guidelines. After being excluded from phase 1 at first, gyms will now soon be able to operate at 50% capacity. Hand sanitizer must be available and staff must clean frequently throughout the day. Employees and club members should wear masks and group classes are still not allowed indoors. In Great Falls, Access Fitness Manager Greg Hall said gyms have been waiting for a concrete timeline to return. He's optimistic, but said that gym members must follow those guidelines or it won't work out.
The number one thing is we're going to have to get a lot of information out to the members before they come here, when they come here, while they're here, and even after they leave here, because it's important that we've done everything we could possibly do to clean the place up. But without good participation of the consumer, our member, it'll look all for naught. So it's going to be an educational process for them and us as well.
Before going back to your own gym, make sure to check out the website or Facebook page to get the most up-to-date information on their specific operations. It's Monday morning. The time now is 6:38. Coming up, the meat market has been hit pretty hard by COVID-19. When we come back, we'll hear how a Helena area shop is handling the shortage.
And later in your weather forecast, we are tracking a cloudy and cool start to the work week. If you did want to try to get a little fishing in before the rain hits, well, Bell Creek not bad, low 50s today. Wind pretty light, minimal rain in this area. Water height at about 4 feet right now. More in your detailed forecast is coming up.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
It's 6:41 on your Monday morning. Welcome back. As profits for U.S. meat processors reach record levels, the U.S. beef cattle industry is questioning whether or not antitrust laws were broken, especially as cattlemen receive less money for their livestock, even as consumer demand remains strong. Now, President Trump is weighing in. With more on this story, here's the Montana Ag Network's Russell Nemitz.
Well, as the spread between the price of live cattle and box beef continues to widen, President Trump is answering the call from the U.S. beef cattle industry to have the U.S. Justice Department look into allegations that U.S. meat processors broke antitrust laws as prices paid to producers have declined even as consumer demand remains strong and meat processors continue to enjoy record profits.
I've asked the Justice Department to look into it, okay? I've asked them to take a very serious look into it because it shouldn't be happening that way. And we want to protect our farmers. But they're looking into that very strongly.
The president's comments come on the heels of a recent letter to U.S. Attorney General William Barr by several state attorney generals, including Montana's Tim Fox, also requesting an investigation.
We need to not only investigate this, but I believe, need to trust bust these 4 large meat packers. And we need to get to a more regional market system where we have processors that are either in Montana or close to Montana. We need to look at having co-ops and other ways in which we can market the best beef in the world here from Montana, label it Montana beef, and make sure that our consumers and our producers are protected.
And just last month, the Montana Stock Growers Association joined 22 other state cattlemen's associations in also requesting an investigation into beef pricing margins. In Billings, Russell Nemitz, MTN News.
President Trump has said in a tweet that the U.S. will start buying up to $3 billion in surplus dairy products, meat, and fresh produce from U.S. farmers starting this week. The Farmers to Family Food Box program is part of the $2 trillion aid package Congress passed in March. The USDA says it will partner with regional and local distributors in areas hard hit by closures of restaurants and hotels. Tizer Meats in the Helena area is predicting a pork shortage this fall. MTN's Alexia Aguayo sat down with the owner to see what this means for consumers.
I keep buying them until that we satisfied the market. Well, we didn't satisfy the market. We just had to finally shut it off because we sold well over 800, and we're a relatively small shop for taking on that big of a bite, but we didn't know that we would sell that many, and we basically sold that many in 3 days.
Matt is referring to this, a sale of processing an entire pig for just $300. Tizer Meat says the price is low because processing plants had to close due to the pandemic, which makes the hog's price low. But that may not last long because, as it says in the sale, there's an incoming pork shortage.
Matt says some hog farms had to euthanize some of their baby pigs because they didn't know how long this pandemic would last.
Now you've got a week or 10-day block in there that there aren't going to be any hogs available, so that's where the shortage is going to come.
Matt predicts the price of pork and possibly other meats will go up between September to October of this year. He says he won't be surprised if an average $2.50 pork chop will go up to about $5. So what can consumers do to prepare for this shortage?
Go to the fair this summer and buy a pig at the fair and buy it local and get it processed local. It's going to be a consumer education deal for people that have never bought a half a beef or a whole hog or a half a hog or any, they've always went to the grocery store and bought exactly what they wanted.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Aguayo, MTN News.
Up next, your weather forecast. Temperatures continue to trend below average as we head into a new work week. We're sitting at 36 degrees in Great Falls, 41 in the capital. Some sun along the high line, but still very cold, just below freezing there. As for your mowing forecast, well, get it done today if you have to or if it's in store, because the next couple of days, a little bit of rain moving in. That's going to create kind of a poor mowing forecast. I'm having trouble here. Forecast is next. We'll see you then.
Thanks.
During this time of coronavirus, a lot of people have gone and bought up things off of store shelves. That's kind of prompted some people to look at maybe growing their own veggies. A lot of greenhouses around the state are saying first-time gardeners should keep it simple. Start with maybe a tomato plant or cucumber, maybe a couple of peppers to throw in on your patio to start off with.
I'm just thinking about yesterday when we were at Home Depot and you're looking at plants, and
Yep.
my first comment was to you. It was to, I don't know, can it survive?
Mm-hmm. Can it survive Shannon taking care of them?
Yeah, what kind
Probably
of
not.
maintenance does this plant require? Anyways, you want to place them in an area where, of course, they get plenty of sunshine. Plant them and make sure you use a little fertilizer in there. And if they're outside and it gets kind of cold at night, make sure you bring them inside or cover them up with a blanket, something.
Yeah, we planted a garden. If you've been watching us for a couple of weeks, we showed you that. Mine's not necessarily because I'm worried that there won't be veggies. I just want to try try growing my own, because I think it's neat to have, just fresh from your own garden.
Oh yeah, you can't beat it.
No,
There's
and
nothing
it
better.
makes it just super good. We'll see how much survives with me taking care of it.
Well, I'm in the mix, so we'll be okay. No, that was always a thing.
Famous
Growing up,
last
we
words.
always had a garden.
Mhm.
A big garden outside. It was kind of cool. You'd freeze or can, for the winter months. So it's just kind of fun to, do something and see all of it.
See the fruits of your
life.
labor, quite literally.
Fruits of your labor.
Yes.
There you go, right? Yeah. So as for the forecast here, if you got the garden in, we'll have plenty of rain. If you haven't got the garden in yet, it's going to be kind of a sloppy mess out there for the next couple of days. Looking at 36 degrees in Great Falls, bright and early this morning, 41 in the capital, very cold in northeastern Montana, only looking at the low 30s there. So there again, little morning frost over the next couple of days in some locations. Keep an eye on that forecast so you know what's going on. Looking at looking at a little bit of wind here this morning, not too bad. Could see breezy conditions at about 15 miles per hour with an occasional gust a little bit stronger stronger this afternoon. Still very cold daytime highs, though. Much warmer west of the divide, but for our area, looking at the low 50s and a couple of 40s as well. Low 50s in northeastern Montana. This afternoon, we'll continue to see building clouds. What we've got going on is an area of low pressure to our south. That's throwing a big plume of moisture over top of the state, and that's actually going to kick off some mountain snow, especially into north central Montana. I'll break that down momentarily. Overnight lows staying a little bit brisk as well. Right on track or kind of flirting with the freezing degree mark tonight, especially along the High Line. 33 in Havre. Same story for Hayes. Right at freezing for Lewistown there at 32. With that colder air tonight and decent amount of moisture moving in, north central Montana, just north of Great Falls into Cutbank along the Rocky Mountain front. Likely going to see some snow in that area. Better chance of more widespread rain as the day plays out on Tuesday tomorrow. So with that said, winter weather advisory in effect goes into effect tonight. Sticking with us through noon Tuesday. Could see up to 5 inches of accumulation. So the Rocky Mountain front snow forecast on average about 1 to 3, but the closer you are to the front there, about 3 to 5 for Hart Butte, St. Mary, about 3 to 5 as well. But that's kind of about the only pocket we're anticipating. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple little stray flurries maybe throughout central Montana, but no accumulation. Overall precipitation about 1/10 of an inch to maybe up to 1/4 as you head into north central Montana. Then tomorrow's highs staying much cooler with that moisture moving into the state. 48 for Great Falls, a little more mild in the capital at 57. Over the next 7 days, here's how it all plays out for us. 50 degrees and pretty cloudy today. Spotty showers likely, much more widespread rain overnight into Tuesday. Again, especially into the early morning hours Tuesday. Can't rule out a few little isolated flurries, but no accumulation for our area, more into north central Montana. Warming up a little bit, though, as we head toward the weekend. Shannon.
Thanks, Jason. 6:52 now. The U.S. unemployment rate may get a little bit worse before it gets better. That's according to the U.S. Treasury Secretary. On Friday, the Department of Labor reported 14.7% of Americans are unemployed. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett says by June, the unemployment rate could reach 20%, levels not seen since the Great Depression. April's unemployment numbers didn't stop Wall Street from continuing its rebound. The Dow closed Friday up 455 points. The Nasdaq was up 141. The S&P 500 gained 48. The Census Bureau says one question on its 2020 survey may now be a bit confusing to answer. Where were you living on April 1st? The date determines what location a person is counted in. The outbreak, though, has displaced thousands of people across the U.S. Some living in coronavirus hotspots have actually fled to some other areas or ended up in the hospital. Students living off campus moved back home when universities closed, and travelers have gotten stuck in other countries. Bureau guidelines say you should submit where you usually live if you expect to go back there. And as employees return to work, some companies are considering technology that would monitor movements and help prevent the spread of coronavirus, they say. Accounting firm PwC has begun using a tool like this at its Shanghai, China location. The company developed an app that tracks how close employees get to each other using Bluetooth or Wi-Fi signals on smartphones. PwC also has several locations in North America. Other tech companies based in the U.S. are working on creating similar apps.
Coming up, we're in Washington with how the White House is responding after COVID-19 reaches its inner circles. Plus, children show and tell us how they're adapting to the new normal during the pandemic. Coming up on CBS This Morning.
Let's get you out the door with a couple of the day's top stories now on this Monday, May 11th, 2020. Cascade County officials say 22-year-old Tyler Jordan Blodgett, also known as Tyler Hardy, was last seen on Hughesville Road on a motorcycle early Sunday morning. His motorcycle was recovered and he was believed to be on foot. He was last seen wearing a brown jacket, black baseball hat, orange Alpine racing pants, and cowboy boots. Crews were searching for him on the ground and in the air last night. We'll update you when we learn more. And some encouraging news this morning on the coronavirus front. Here in Montana, there are no new cases to report. Our total of confirmed cases remains steady at 458. Statewide, there are 20 active cases. In total, in both Cascade and Lewis and Clark counties, there have been 16 reported cases. 4 people are currently hospitalized for complications attributed to COVID-19. 422 Montanans have recovered so far. All right, we can't let you go on this Monday without showing you all of our great mug shots that we got from viewers this week.
Yeah, I love that one. Got the Coors in the KRTV mug, right?
Yeah, we never said the mug had to be filled with coffee.
No, you can put whatever the heck you want in the mug. I don't care. Getting ready for a little summer course there, it looks like. This one's awesome.
I love that.
Got
love
the Yoda
it.
mug going. I love the ears on there. And Cassie Johnson.
Week.
Good one there. Snow, I believe this is from the Lewistown area.
Yep.
And I love this one too. Shh, there's wine in here.
And you like it, you see the studying happening in the background.
Yeah, can't beat it there. And more issues than Vogue. And this one, I can't tell what that is. It looks like one of those, what's
That's
that,
creative.
kids book or whatever?
Oh, Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, that. I wonder if that's not it. But there can only be winner,
of course,
or one winner. So with that said, this week's winner of Mugshot Monday is Laura. Shh, there's wine in here.
Wine glass.
And I love how the kid's working on homework in the background.
I think a lot of parents probably are feeling that right now.
Yeah, no kidding. So swing by the KRTV studios. Give us a jingle beforehand, but we do have a secretary up front again. Tracy's back. So pick up your Morning Light coffee from Morning Light Coffee Roasters and your KRTV mug. Well, with that said, if you're looking to do a little watering over the next couple of days, gardening, today not too bad. Don't need to water tomorrow. And the remainder of the week's probably going to be a little bit damp out there as well. Next 7 days, looking at the 40s, kind of chilly with some rain moving through the area.
All right. Well, thanks so much for making us a part of your Monday.